All right, welcome back to part 2 of my first episode of CardStalk, where we're taking a closer look at my 1992 Marvel Masterpieces trading card collection by the great Joe Jusko. As you can see, all of these cards are currently in their classic 3x4 protective plastic sleeves, and they are in sleeves inside of those cases, just to make sure they are best protected as they can be. Well, I put this project together and figured out how I was going to best display these in a way that would do them justice, for just how awesome they are and how important they are to me. These, of course, are the most definitive pictures of these characters in my mind. Whenever I think of these characters, this is the picture that I think of them first and foremost. Doesn't matter if I was familiar with the characters from other card sets or the comics themselves, this is how I picture these characters because this set was just so important to me. And I know I'm not alone in that. I definitely know I'm not alone in the thinking that this is the greatest trading card set that has ever been made. As you can see, these are all individually signed. Like I said in my intro, I wasn't lying. I was lucky enough to meet Joe Jusko at the Calgary Comic and Entertainment Expo in 2011. And after telling essentially the same story that I told in part 1, Joe agreed to sign my entire set for me, and I have never been able to thank him adequately for just how important this was to me, even when I got to meet him again a few years later and recounted the story to him. Now, for those of you out there that are familiar with this set, grew up with this set, and loved it as much as I did, you might have noticed something a little bit off about this particular set of cards. Mine are not in proper order. A lot of people will remember that card number 1 should actually be Blob. I've decided to organize these alphabetically for a couple of different reasons. One, in these sleeves, you can't read the numbers anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And it's going to be the same case when I put them on display. You're just not going to be able to see those numbers anyway. For people who aren't familiar with the set, being the weird 87% alphabetical order that they were in numerically would just be confusing and weird, and I just think having it done alphabetically is going to just add to the flow better. I must say that I do appreciate that all of these were signed with a basic black Sharpie rather than all the other colors, silvers and blues and golds and stuff like that. Not that there's anything wrong with those other colors. In fact, some of them, on some cards, it might have been a better option as it would show up better on them. But I think, again, with it being on display the way it's going to, having all the colors match, it's just going to look better and flow better, for me anyway. I also think that this particular set is pretty rare. I've never seen another one quite like it. I've seen nearly completed sets autographed. I've seen one complete set on eBay right now with a variety of different colors going for a substantial amount of money. Not that I would ever consider selling this. As I said, it is one of the most important things I've ever owned to me. But yeah, I've never seen a set quite like this where every single card is signed in a uniform way. And so I just think that makes it even more extra special. Approaching the end of the main set of cards here, the original 100 cards up to and including the checklist, which is also signed by Joe, which is pretty funny, seeing as there's not actually any art on this card, but I did ask him to sign all of them, and he did, so that was pretty cool. It's going to be an important part to have that on display as well, even though you're only going to be able to see half the numbers on display. That doesn't matter too much. On top of that, there was, of course, the 5 Battle Spectra Chase cards. I got this one. I remember I got the Hulk vs. Thing and the Spider-Man vs. Venom. I remember the day I opened the package on this one, how excited I was to have gotten that one. My brother was incredibly jealous. But I do believe my brother did end up getting me the Wolverine vs. Sabretooth card once upon a time, and I had to complete the collection online a number of years later with the last 2 Chase cards. On top of that, there are the 5 air quote Lost Ladies cards. These cards were not available in the set. In fact, they're not even mentioned on the checklist itself. These were only available in the collector's tin for a fairly limited edition. I didn't even know these ones existed as a kid. So I was lucky enough when I met Joe a second time that I managed to get a hold of this set, and he signed those for me as well so I could add them to the collection, which, again, so grateful, so amazing. I can't wait to get these on display. And I can't wait to share that with you in part 2. There we go. That is my complete set of 1992 Marvel Masterpieces cards, individually signed by Joe Jusko. Come back for part 3, where we get to see them on display in all of their glory. Take care.